Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. As always, I'm your host, Saunch. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out another video on the channel. If you find yourself enjoying this style of content, consider subscribing. But let's go ahead and talk about two NPC shows and IFBB shows coming up this weekend. There are more than just two, but these are the two that I'm going to be focusing a majority of my energy on this weekend. So stay tuned for that coverage. It is the Wasatch, I believe it's called, the Wasatch Warrior, the IFBB and NPC. For the pro side, we're going to see people like the men's physique, bikini figure, and then also figure masters. And then on the NPC side, we're going to see a plethora of classes, all the normal NPC classes. Same for the Houston Tournament of Champions. Now, for the pro side, we're going to see, I believe it's at least men's classic physique. Beyond that, I'm not 100% sure on the divisions. We might see a little bit of bikini. We might see a little bit of figure, maybe some wellness here and there. Hard to tell. But those are the two classic or NPC divisions that I'll be putting most of my energy in this weekend. So stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead and roll the intro, and then let's get into another episode of Bodybuilding Today. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Like I said, to another episode of Bodybuilding Today. We're talking about Hassan Mostafa. Now, he is prepping for the Orlando Pro, the return of the Orlando Pro. We haven't seen it in a couple years. This is going to be a good show. It's going to be a very hot and contested show. It's going to, if I get the dates right, it's going to roll right off the back of the Indy Pro and the New York Pro. So expect some of the people that don't place as well as they want, or if they looked phenomenal and they want to just score in and get more points and get more money, definitely expect them to show up here at this Orlando Pro. But Hassan Mostafa, one of my favorite younger competitors, barely getting close to 30. I think he's literally my age. I think he's 28. He has so much muscle. He's completely filled out, I think, in muscle-wise. All he needs to do is just figure out this conditioning. He competed crazy last year. He did so many shows, but he just could never really get that level of conditioning and especially separation to give him a favorable look when we think about top 2, top 3 placings. So I'd really like to see that from Hassan Mostafa. I'd like to see that continued improvement in mastering his conditioning and muscle maturity that leads into that separation piece. So like I said, he's got the muscle. He just needs to keep mastering this conditioning and separation. But best of luck, Hassan Mostafa, coming into this year's Orlando Pro. Antoine Vaillant, I believe is how you say his name. Of course, apologies if I butcher it. But Antoine is, I'm not sure what he's prepping for, but I know that he wasn't too happy with his placings last year. His placings kind of slipped, if I'm being honest. And there's always been a conversation. Antoine's had a few injuries, and in my opinion, that's led to a lot of imbalances with his physique. I mean, even here you can see he's got amazing legs, world-class legs, but it would seem that his upper body doesn't always keep up with that world-class lower body. And I think that that's hurting him significantly in his places, especially when you start looking at these elite tier shows like the Arnold Classic, like the Olympia. He doesn't really get a good look, and he did win the Cali Pro recently. Last year, 2 years ago. So I think it was 2 years ago. I think Patrick Moore won last year, but Antoine's been doing very well. He's been training hard. I'm not sure what his goal is this off season, if he's trying to put on more muscle or if he's just trying to perfect the package, but it looks like he's coming in around 280, 285 pounds in this off season. So I hope he doesn't push too far up there. Once you start getting close to that 300, it's really scary. And there's a lot of conversation going on about, is it even worth it to hit that kind of weight? So we'll see in the future what Antoine is going to be doing this year, if he's going to announce if he's going to do the Toronto Pro or anything like that. I would think he would do the Toronto Pro, Canadian resident. So that makes the most sense to me. But I do believe he's training out of Las Vegas, so I guess it doesn't matter. But anywho, best of luck to Antoine on his prep this year. Talking about preps, RAFAEL Brandao, the favorite to win the Arnold Brazil, just coming up. I think it's just under 6 weeks. He is looking phenomenal, very, very well conditioned. After announcing that he had to drop out of the Arnold Classic this year, he is ready for the Arnold Brazil or the Arnold South America, whatever you want to call it. This guy is my favorite physique. He's so balanced. His physique is so pretty. Now, I guess some of these pictures, the way his most muscular looks when he's doing the hands clasped, his nipples like roll under his pec, and it's such an interesting look. And I guess that's just me being weird, but love his physique. He's my favorite open bodybuilder. Definitely when you look at his physique. Conditioning has sometimes been a little hit and miss for him, but overall, just such a phenomenal world-class physique. If this is the look that the pro judging panels are looking for this year, just based off of his most recent win, what was that? The Evil Prague Pro. If that's what the judges are looking for in 2022, honestly, guys, I think he's going to do really, really well. 2 weeks out, 15 days out from the Arnold Classic. So definitely time flew by, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize. Just over 2 weeks out from the Arnold South America. So best of luck to him. I think he's got that one in the bag, but there are some competitors. Mr. William Martins is also doing that show. I think there's a couple other guys that are going to push him, but I think it's a good chance he's going to walk away from that show. Another competitor that's going to be challenging the favorite to win a upcoming pro show, the Indy Pro, Justin Rodriguez is going to have his hands full with Charles Griffin. One of these guys that really came out of nowhere last year after, I believe he took a year or two off, and just absolutely dominating, in my opinion, based off of what people's expectations were of him, and in the package that he brought, I thought was lights out. I think if he would have had any much of a smaller or lighter competition scorecard, I think he would have won that show last year. I think it was the Indy Pro. But this year, I think he's going to have his hands full. If he brings just the right amount of conditioning and separation, there's a good chance that he could beat out Justin Rodriguez. Now, I think that's a tall order. I think Justin definitely is the favorite to win that show. And then you also have Blessing Wodabu. He's definitely going to be a favorite to place maybe second or third at that show. So Charles Griffin looking phenomenal, but definitely going to have his hands full coming up here in just under 3 weeks out from the Indy Pro. And last but certainly not least, Sergio Oliva Jr. recently announced that I don't know if he's going to go and join Team Oxygen, but he's definitely saying he's going to Dubai. He's going to be training out there for the near future. He didn't like what happened last year. I believe it was at the Texas Pro. Didn't place as well as a lot of people thought he was going to place. And then also the Legion Sports Festival, he didn't place as well as he thought he was going to either. He definitely didn't come in as conditioned as a lot of people wanted him to, and I'm sure he didn't come in as conditioned as he wanted himself to come into. So love the guy. He represents tall bodybuilders very well, and I think he's going to have a very successful season. Just depends, if he's going to start prepping in Dubai, or is he going to take a year off? Like, I'm not sure. I don't know if you really need Dubai to prep, but hey, he's the pro, not me. So best of luck to Sergio Oliva Jr. on this upcoming bodybuilding pro prep coming into this 2022 competitive season. So, ladies and gentlemen, for all the super fans, I appreciate your support. If you guys want to support me, definitely leave some comments and some love in the comment sections below and let me know what you guys want me to cover next. There is, I don't have my other notes open, but there are a couple NPC shows I want to cover. There's the Phil Heath Classic just happened. I want to cover that one. I want to actually, if any of you out there, James or Jessica or King, if any of you guys want to check out and see if you can find any NPC women's bodybuilding shows. I've been really having a really hard time finding a complete lineup this year of any shows with women bodybuilding. I'd like to do a women's bodybuilding episode coming up here real soon. So stay tuned for that. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching another episode on BNN. I'm your host, Saunch. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you in the next one.